Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to Lucifer. You're always listening to Lucifer. Um, that was an underwhelming intro. This is the Apocalyptic Optimath channel. Opsimath channel, by the way. Opsimath, not Optimath. Um, I think actually you can say both and they both have the same meaning. I have to look that up. Anyway, um, this is the Apocalyptic Optimath channel, a channel solely based on my magic system that I have created and that I have been sharing with you guys for the past couple of years, by the way. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. My name is Seth, also known as Lucifer, also known as King the Conqueror, also known as Galactus, also known as the High Evolutionary. And that's a perfect segue because I was wondering, I'm getting feedback. I'm getting comments, and I appreciate it. And from the bottom of my heart, do I appreciate it seriously? Because it legitimizes my channel. I have proof of people being interested in what I'm doing. Of course, people are interested in what I'm doing, but we're living in a world where we believe in ghosts, right? Everything is in the spirit realm. And that's fine and dandy that in the spirit realm, everybody listens to you and everybody sees you, and it's like being a rock star or some shit like that. But that's in the spirit realm. We need confirmation. We need concrete actions, because without concrete action, there is no progress. And you can't be a living soul living in a dead world. No pun intended, no offense meant. That just doesn't make sense. You can't be a tangible body living in an intangible world. It just doesn't make sense. So of course you need more than just, the glarings, the portals of another universe looking at you through the eyes of a human, right? And that's letting you know that the universe is listening, or the human global consciousness is listening to what you're saying and receiving the messages and enjoying the messages. Because that's the thing about, like, when I make my videos, whether it is criticizing the Illuminati or speaking about things that are more motivational or more inspirational, I do get reactions. I get reactions from everybody, right? But they don't watch my videos. They just feel the vibration, right? Like, they don't watch my videos. So, like, I appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm like, you're not helping. Like, so I don't care, and that's just how I see it. Like, it's not, it's flattering, but at the same time it's like, I don't care, because you have, it almost feels like sometimes it feels like that reaction stems from an envious standpoint, right? It's kind of like, okay, what you're saying might be true, but I don't like your face, right? Or some shit like that, right? So sometimes it feels like that's where it's coming from. It feels like that because if you did really believe, like, well, you might believe in what I'm saying, but if you actually appreciated me for a person, you would speak to me, right? You would actually use words, right? You would actually engage in a conversation, right? So it's so when you're looking at something from afar, like that, especially for a long time, it leads the person, whoever it might be, it's not just me. Like that's just, it's gonna make the person feel like you might have a problem with them, right? Like, okay, yeah, you're complimenting me on my vibration and stuff like that, or you're inside of my synchronicity wave, but like, are you always gonna just stay there? Are you just gonna listen from afar? Are you that cheap of a person that you're just gonna be satisfied with the little the cookie crumbles that I leave behind as I eat the whole cookie, right? Like, and if that's the case, then you might have some form of emotional distress when it comes to me, right? So anyways, no pun intended, no offense meant. What I really wanted to say is that I would like, and I'm not necessarily talking about, well, yeah, well, yes, there's a lot of people, that watch my channel, and I don't know any of them. Like, well, not any of them. I don't know. Like, I know 0.1% of the people that watches my channel, and that 0.1% is like 5 people or something that I actually speak to, right? There's like 5 people, probably less. I might be forgetting someone. That's why I said 5. But I know 3 that I actively speak with, So, but there's I've met other people through it too, but we don't talk that much. They don't comment that much, So yeah, kind of. So it's kind of like there's 30, 40, 50 people that watches my video, but there's like 3 people that I talk to. And it's been like that for years. I've had like 50 people watching my videos for 2-3 years, and I only talk to 2 or 3 of them. Kind of looks bad. It kind of, it kind of looks bad. So I tend to feel like I think like some of the people that watch my channel probably come from another person's channel, and that's how they got through to me. That's how they like saw me. But and at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, well, I respect that, but it's been a couple years. It's been a couple months. It's been a couple months. It's been a couple years. So like, like if you didn't like what you was hearing, you wouldn't keep coming back. So anyways, and the point of what I'm trying to say here is, I would like to hear about, no pun intended, no offense, man. I understand that might be a little bit insulting, but it's just that's how I see it. And I know it might not be the case, I'm aware, but at the same time, I can't help myself but to think that, because I'm kind of like, well, why don't you say something? I mean, like, like, why don't you ever say anything? So, like, anyways, it's kind of weird. And it happens, it's not just on my YouTube channel, it happens in real life. When I make a video, I always have a reaction, depending on the video that I made, or depending on the energy that I put in, depending on the subject that I'm talking about. I do get reactions, from reality, as a whole. So, like I said, I would like, personally, if that could be possible, I would like for people to give me feedback on how some of these videos have helped you, right? Like what did some of my content change something for you in your life? Did it make something better? I remember somebody that said on my channel not too long ago that said my video has sent them in a whirlwind of, craziness, and the person said, but I needed it, and it was kind of like, I felt like it was a little bit of a backhanded compliment. It was kind of like a compliment. It was an insult followed by a compliment, it feels like, or I might be reading into it too much, right? But I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I like it, and I appreciate it, because and that's exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear that the content that I'm speaking, the things that I'm speaking, because it if nobody says anything, eventually it's gonna make my channel look bad, and it's gonna make me look bad, not the channel. Who No one cares about the channel. It's gonna make me look bad, and the reason why that is because I'm sitting here and I'm saying I'm telling secrets, but are you really telling secrets if there is no reaction to the secrets that you're giving, right? Are you just a crazy person saying that these things are secret when they're not? And even if they were, you're still crazy to believe in those secrets if they don't actually change anything, right? So I can keep saying that to look cool because I'm on YouTube, but eventually there has to be a clear cut image of what I'm doing, right? And it's not just for me personally, of course. Well, it's for me, but it's not necessarily personal, right? In the case of, well, there's a bunch of people that keep listening to the fucking channel. There has to be a reason. Fine. Okay. But there might be a bunch of people listening to the channel, but nobody says anything ever. So what the fuck is going on? Are they bots? Does he pay for bots? Does he so maybe right now nobody's asking themselves that question because my channel is small, but eventually if I keep going and I stay saying the same things and proclaim myself to be like one of the most powerful chosen ones and King the Conqueror and shit like that, and then nothing happens, Lucifer, but nobody ever says anything, and nobody actually confirms that things are changing. Nobody ever confirms that, or nobody ever confirms what I'm saying, right? Because I can confirm it for myself, of course, and this is an agenda that is pushed on people nowadays to do things for yourself. Like, don't do it to make other people feel good, do it to make you feel good, right? And that's fine and dandy, but everything has its limits. Everything has its purpose, and everything has its limits, right? And at some point, if we don't get feedback, if we do not get feedback, why am I even listening to this guy for? Right? At some point, right? Like, what's the purpose here? What's the point, right? So we don't want to ask ourselves those questions, because those are negative questions. We don't want to ask ourselves those questions. What we want is to be sure of what we're doing, right? And we want other people to see the progress of what we're doing too. We want other people to understand what we're doing. Of course, we're not doing it for other people, and we're not doing it for other people to like us more and stuff like that. But there is a little thing called dignity, right? There is a little thing called self-respect and dignity, and I believe that's why we need those backstories, right? Like, we need those occasional people that's kind of like, oh yeah, you said that the other day, and this, that, right? We need those from time to time. And I understand some people might be a little bit shy, right? Some people might be shy too, and that's the reason why they don't say anything. But it's been a couple years now. All right, we're gonna go on the 4th year of this fucking channel. I'm gonna go on my 4th year of being on YouTube. I've been on YouTube way longer than that, actually, but I'm gonna enter this 4th year of this new format. So we need We need people to speak up. We need people to speak up. Because what am I like? Do I need to shut the fuck up? Right? Like, do I need to shut up? Like, what's the point? And at the same, it's confusing because there's 50 people watching, and they keep coming back to listen to more, but at the same time, they never say anything. So I don't know what they're feeling. I don't know what they're feeling. I don't know what their ideas of. I don't know what their opinions are. I don't know if they have contradicting opinions to mine. I don't know if they're missing the point. I don't know if they missed something. I don't know if they didn't. I don't know if they understood or misunderstood something. I can't help you. I'm not saying you need help, but I can't really do anything for you if you don't communicate, right? But there's no communication. If there's no communication, there's nothing at all. End of story. If there's no communication, there's nothing at all. Everything starts with communication. Everything starts with communication. If there's no communication, there's nothing at all. So, pardon me for that intro right there. It might have been a bit harsh, but it might have been a bit harsh. But it's harsh for you, but me, that's how I feel. That's what I'm thinking. So it's harsh for me too, that's, and I don't think like that every day. Sometimes I really don't give a fuck, but sometimes, I'm by myself and I'm thinking, well, why nobody ever says nothing, right? And I'm used to this synchronicity wave nonsense. So it's like, it's not really a bother. It's like, it's not really a bother to me. It happens all the time. So, I need concrete things. Concrete things make things progress. Because staying floating in cloud nine, you're never gonna get anywhere in life. Like if you stay on cloud nine, you're never gonna get anywhere. You gotta hit the ground at some point. If you don't hit the ground, you're not gonna get anywhere. Staying on cloud nine is not ideal. It really isn't. I don't even understand how people are capable of staying in cloud nine. I find it very unattractive. It's not something that I'm interested in. The cloud. I can't even get myself to be on cloud nine. You know what I mean? Like I don't like, it's just not part of me. I'm not wired that way. Some people are, and that's fine. But even those people, regardless, at some time and point, you're gonna have to hit the ground and you're gonna have to start walking. Right? You're gonna have to start journeying. And right now is not the best place to journey. It's not the best time to journey, of course. But a journey doesn't necessarily mean that you're going somewhere. A journey can be something that you're learning. A journey can be, taking an internet class about something that you're interested in. A journey could be, getting into a hobby that you've always wanted to get into, but you never got around to do it. And that could be a journey too. It's not necessarily, traveling to Tibet and meditate in caves and stuff like that. Everything is important and everything is relative. The journey that you're living, if you choose to live a journey, because at the same time, I'm saying I can't be on cloud nine, but living your journey, to me, entering a journey is like being on cloud nine. Because at the end of the day, being on cloud nine doesn't necessarily mean just living in the imaginary world. It also means, there's also another definition of living in cloud nine, is when you're doing something that makes you happy. Being happy also means that you're on cloud nine, right? So when you enter this new journey and it makes you, you're happy. Maybe doing the journey is not going to make you happy because you'll realize that you don't like what you're doing, but but before get into the journey, you're excited. You're kind of like you're in that honeymoon phase where you're kind of like, oh man, this is gonna be great. You're super pumped, you're super motivated, and you're like ready to go. So you're on cloud nine. Until something comes along to kick you off of the cloud. If it even kicks you off of the cloud, because something might happen, but you just like what you're doing so much that it doesn't even bother you, so you stay on cloud nine, right? So to me, that's my cloud nine, right? My cloud nine is when I get into a new journey, I get into a new project, and that's my cloud nine. That's my cloud nine. My cloud nine is projects, interests, learning, doing, those are my cloud nines, right? So the thing is, everything is relative. You're going through a journey, and what I mean by everything is relative, the importance of relativity, right? The importance of Einstein theory of relativity is that a man is a Buddhist. A man wakes up, takes a plane. A man wakes up in America, grows up in America, and then decides to take a plane, fly to Tibet, enter a pilgrimage with some monks, teaches himself how to meditate, becomes a dharma, becomes a lama or something like that, and just achieves nirvana, right? Another man wakes up, I don't know, in China. Another man, not necessarily a Chinese man, who no one cares, right? Another man wakes up in China, decides to go to America, and wants to become investment banker, right? The relativity of both things, what both of these men or women have in common is they are both journeying, and they're both going towards their goal, and they're both going towards their purpose, and they're both discovering things. They're both discovering themselves. They both flew out of their homes to enter a completely different country. So they have to rediscover everything. So you have to imagine, like, they're both living the same life. So at the end of the day, there's no difference between a Buddhist and a lawyer. Zero. At all. So that is the law of relativity. That is the theory of relativity. Right? So what I'm trying to say, if I am trying to say anything at all, is to not be afraid to do what you want to do. That you can't lose your spirituality unless you decide to ignore your spirituality. So it doesn't matter what you do, what you get into, as long as your spiritual path is in the back of your mind, you'll just keep progressing into it. And your spirituality is going to merge itself with whatever you are doing. Your spirituality is going to find a space within what you are doing to express itself. Or you can do it on purpose. You can choose something that is closer to your spiritual path. Like, let's say if you're an artist, it's not hard for an artist to remain spiritual even though he sells his paintings at a gallery. He's not losing his spirituality at all. Not even a little bit. Why would he lose his spirituality? For where is it that he loses his spirituality? Nowhere. The gallery show is 3 hours. It's once a month, once every 3 months. So the whole 3 month, he's meditating, he's painting, he's creating, he's being creative, he's all there. He's all there. He's all in it. But there's one day for 3 hours where he sells his paintings. That is very small compared to the 3, 4, 5, 6 months or the whole year that he's consistently practicing his spirituality. So everything is relative, and it feels like people are losing grasp of reality per se. People have lost grasp of reality. People have lost grasp of spirituality. People have lost grasp of reality. Uh, but at the same time, it's not necessarily that they lost grasp. I mean, yes, they have, but it's not necessarily all there that's the issue. There's also a notion of education. There's also a notion of not knowing, right? Because most people think they go to school. Like I was never told this. I didn't know that school was still going on even after school. I have no idea. I had no idea. I was never told this. When I went to school, they told us do your homework and that's it. Nobody told me I had to keep learning even when I was not at school. Because school gives you bare bones information. You're the one that has to be interested in things in order to discover the truth or the reality or the notion behind what was the nugget that was given to you at school. Basically, you don't learn shit at school. They only tell you surface, they blanket area everything. Like you don't become a theoretical physicist by going to school. That's not how you become a theoretical physicist. You don't become a scientist by going to school. How do you become a scientist? How do you become a lawyer? How do you become a doctor? By being interested in those things, not by going to school. Because you can't learn that in school. You can't learn how to be a doctor in school. You can't learn how to be a scientist in school. You have to do it yourself. Yeah, there's science class. There's medicine class, but medicine class only gives you the bare bone information. It gives you enough for yourself to consider yourself. Well, it gives you enough to be qualified into the field, but that doesn't really necessarily make you good or bad at your job. You just know of the job. But if you really want to be a doctor, you're going to have to do more than just attend medical class. Because if you just attend medical class, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. No, when you're outside of school, you have to study, you have to be at school. When you're home, you are more at school than when you're at school. And since they don't tell us that for some reason that I do not know, and I feel like it's because, let's face it, when you have higher education, you just get better teachers and stuff like that. And I kind of feel like it's on purpose too. Because there's this draconian system that wants to remain above the social class. Cis, plural. So they give all of the good stuff to the richer people, and they give the scraps to the lesser people. And the worst part is they blame you for not having enough money to send your kid to a $60,000, $40,000 tuition school. It's your fault. At the end of the day, it's not their fault. I mean, it's not their fault that you don't have 75 grand to put your kid in the private school, in the Ivy League private school. It's nobody's fault. If it's somebody's fault, it's your fault. You're the one that doesn't have the money. It's not me that doesn't have. I got the money. So we get less information, and dare I say, I mean, there are some smart people in the world, of course, obviously, but you know, how good is an Ivy League school, right? Because look at the state of society today. I mean, sure, we're really good engineers. We can build humongous buildings. We can count up to $1 trillion. We can do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, of course. But there's a missing component, which is the human. Right? Like I said, we're like meat for the grinder. We're like meat for the grinder. And even I feel like even the rich sometimes are kind of like meat for the grinder without them even noticing that they're meat for the grinder. Right? And it feels like this stems from a lack of leadership and devotion in teaching, conviction, right? Like, how many teachers believe in what they're doing? How many teachers actually know their job and truly believe in what they're doing? Because right now, no pun intended, no pun intended, no offense meant, like, kids are learning about pronouns, about they, them, and stuff like that. No one cares about that. That's not important. What's important is the things that I'm talking about, so that they grow up being the person that they want to be to the fullest extent. Not just enough so that they can flip a burger. I've discovered this. I've came into this realization that we need. When I understood that God didn't exist, is the same day I understood that that's the reason we are God. But the thing is, God will take care of his creation. But the God that we have today is a lazy, unbothered, and sometimes unhinged God. So that's why I'm pushing this agenda about, like, this is our planet, this is our world, this is our creation. We created this. And it's kind of like we forgot that we created this, or we're not aware that we're creating it, even though that we did with our physical hands. I'm not talking about a spiritual aspect here. I'm not talking about something spiritual. No, we built houses. We built buildings. We the one that built it. And we can destroy it if we want to. It's our creation. But it seems that people forgot that they created this. And it not only that they forgot that they created this, but they're giving credit for the creation for somebody, or some, in both cases, those two qualification both apply. We're giving the credit for this creation to something and someone that had nothing to do with it. It's very curious. It's a very curious aspect, and I blame schools for this. We crossed the line. As humans, we've crossed the line. And it's weird that I'm not going to go on a tangent that people are going to go to hell and stuff like that. No, it's just fucking weird. It's just bizarre. Because 2 plus 2 is 4, not 5. So it's kind of like you build a building and then you don't care what happens to the building. You build a car and then you don't care what happens to the car. That's just weird stuff. It's weird stuff. I mean, like I have a hard time believing. Well, I don't have a hard time believing it because it's happening, but it's illogical to me to look at someone. It's like, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to use an example that proves what I'm saying. Like, look at Enzo Ferrari, right? Enzo Ferrari was passionate about race cars. He had a childlike vision of race cars. And he went on about creating one of the greatest, high performance cars known to man, called the Ferrari. And the way people are acting, oh, it's just things, it's just things, it's just things. Yeah, but to him, that's not just a thing. Like, you don't go to Enzo Ferrari's face and tell him, oh, your car is just a thing. He's going to beat you up. He's going to get his security guards to beat you up, take your clothes, strip you of your clothes, and he's going to kick your ass out the house. You know, you don't go to Enzo Ferrari and say shit like that. You're going to get fucked up. Because to him, it's not just a thing. You don't go to Aston Martin right up to his fucking face and be like, oh, Aston Martin is just a fucking Aston Martin. No, no one sensible in their right minds are going to do that. But yet, even though we wouldn't do that, well, most of us wouldn't do that because we got common sense, we seem to actually have some form of benign amnesia. Or it's kind of like, we know what an Aston Martin is. We're aware of what Aston Martin is. We're aware of what it represents. But at the same time, we're kind of like, bah, you know, whatever. It's just a thing. It's just a toy. And that might be true. And that might be true. It's just a toy. But like I said it might be true. So I'm lying to myself when I'm saying that. Especially after what I just said. Because at the end of the day, I'm saying, oh yeah, sure, it's just a toy. But if I'm in front, if Ashton Martin's in front of me and asks me, is the Ashton Martin just a toy? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's an Ashton Martin because it's Ashton fucking Martin. You know, like, you know, and I know what it represents. I know what it is. I know what he was trying to build. I know what his vision was, even though I never spoke to him. But we have a category of cars. It's a class. It's a luxury car. So I know what it represents. It represents luxury. So it's not just a toy. Of course, it's a toy. It's a big boy toy, but it's not just that. But it's not. I'm trying to cater to your emotions by saying that. That's not true. It's not just a toy. It's not. And it's bad, I feel like, for people to feel like things are just toys. Even though in some shape or form it is. But it's not. It's like when you were small, right? I don't know if you ever had a bully, or maybe you got grounded. You know, you were a little bit turbulent as a child, and your mom would take away your toys. What was your first reaction when your mom took away your toys? You would start crying. Why? Why are you crying if it's just a toy? You see what I'm getting at? Because it is. It's plastic. You know, it comes from a Saturday morning cartoon, probably. But when you got the toy, you were happy, and you play with it all the time. And when it's taken away from you, a tidal wave of sadness and anger rushes over you because you lost the toy. So it's kind of funny that you grow up and you tend to lose that passion that you had for toys. Where did it go? How did it disappear? Why did it disappear? And these are important questions to ask yourself, because these are questions that's going to make you realize who you are truly. Are you full of shit? Or you really genuinely believe in what you're saying? Because some people do. Some people genuinely believe they would. I'm pretty sure that there's some people out there that they would go to Ashton Martin's face and be like, "It's just a fucking toy, Martin." It's just a fucking toy. You know, I'm sure of it. You know, activists are super pissed all the fucking time about everything. So, you know, like, they would go batshit crazy. You know, so there's some people like that, right? But for all of us general masses that don't have an issue with things, I feel like it's a good question to ask yourself. Where did that passion go? Where did I put it? And if I did lose it, did I lose it? And if I did lose it, why did I lose it? Was there a traumatic experience that made me not want to do that? Is there a fear somewhere that blocks me from achieving those goals? Is there, like, what is going on with me? What is happening, right? A little bit of self-retrospect is in order from time to time. And especially nowadays, there's a little bit of self retrospective that needs to be done, especially nowadays, because we're losing track. We're going off rails. We're going off rails. This shit has gone off of his hinges, bro. Like, we're seeing more and more disturbing behavior as we get along, as we go along, bro. Like, we're seeing more and more disturbing behavior as we go along. And to me, it feels like some of this disturbing behavior stems from the loss of passion, the loss of, not even passion. It's them. Well, there's a lot of ignorance involved in these things. People like to call some of these people, the people that are doing things, are they're demons. No, they're stupid. There's a huge difference. They're so stupid that they like created this ego. They're so dumb that instead of learning more things, instead of discovering more things, they decided to let the dumbness take over control. So they're possessed by ignorance, and the ignorance has grown a massive ego where it's kind of replaced the original person that was there. And now you just have an entity created out of nothing that some people feel is so absurd and outlandish and ridiculous that it has to be something supernatural, like a demon, like a old folks' tales of a demon, right? It's not a demon. He's just stupid. You know, like, that's all it is. He's just dumb. He's just an idiot. So, but it's never too late. I feel like, I mean, this is idealistic. And of course, this goes out to only my viewers, because only my viewers will be able to do this self-retrospective. Because if you watch this channel, it's because you're highly evolved beyond other means, especially if you understand what I'm saying. That definitely means that you're highly evolved, right? Or you're on the road to becoming evolved. Or you can consider yourself evolved because you're listening to me. Even though you're learning from me, are you learning from me? I mean, I was talking about yesterday. I know the video was quite long, but I felt like I needed to do it. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I know the video was long. Pardon me. But in the video I was talking about yesterday, I was talking about how the Illuminati plucks strings of music out of the ether, right? And how that music is actually the music of someone, right? And that you are the music, right? So life is like music, right? And you're the one playing the music. You might not be aware that you're playing the music, but you're playing the music. So, and this is why jealousy and envy is only for the ignorant. It's only for the dumb, deaf, and blind. Because when you're jealous of someone, that means you're jealous of yourself. That means you hate yourself. When you're jealous of somebody, that means you hate yourself. You don't like yourself. Because I'm you. So how can you be jealous of you? I'm you. That doesn't make any sense. And what I'm trying to get at here is, if you're watching my channel, yeah, you're watching my channel. Yeah, you were born in 1975, whatever, or 2012, whatever. You were born 2008, and now you're listening to my channel. You go to school, you got a job, blah, 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 and you're smart enough to listen to this channel, and you're looking at life in a linear path. because you're not an idiot. It's normal to look at life in a linear path because that's what you're doing. You know, you wake up, you go to school, you go to work, you get home, you watch TV, you go with your friends, and that's a linear path. Everybody can agree on that. There's no denying that. But it also can, if you're not spiritual, it can hinder you a little bit spiritually. That's how you become jealous of things, right? But fortunately, you're not that kind of person, because or else you wouldn't be here listening to this shit, right? So the part that you might or might not know is that it's a couple of years ago, you know, there's some people, because I have a joyful attitude. I love to laugh. But one thing about rich people is that they laugh all the time. One thing about tough guys, the things that tough guys and rich people and me have in common is that we laugh all the time. A real tough guy is never sad. A rich person is never sad. Right? So I'm never sad. Well, I'm not never sad, but you know what I mean. So anyways, because of that attitude, sometimes you tend to do things or you tend to say things and people get it misconstrued. And I remember one of the things that people got, I didn't forget what I was saying. Hold up. This is all relative. You know, one of the things that I was talking about is, like I was saying 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was saying you created me. And people took it out of jealousy and out of envy, of course, ignorance and hate and hatred. People took it in a way that I didn't have enough confidence in myself. And people believed that it was sad to hear somebody say that somebody else created them. And that's stupid. You know, like that's dumb. You know, because everybody was created. You had a mom, you have a dad. And your mom and your dad instilled everything they know in you. So you're not you. I mean, you're you, but you're a you created out of something else. You're another version of something that existed before. You know, like everybody today is another version of a generation that existed before. Like, we don't dress around in polka dot shirts and flashy elephant pants. That was back in the 70s. We don't walk around with giant boombox on our shoulders. That was in the 80s. So there's always another version that stems from another thing. So what I was saying is that you're a magician. And like Jafar so eloquently pointed out, is that some people do magic and they have no idea that they're doing magic. And at some point, we don't know if it's magic because we're too stupid and too stuck on stupid garbage and bullshit to actually research things of higher power. So instead of doing that, we sit here and do stupid, dumbass shit. So, which is very sad. I'm pardon my language here. I'm a little bit frustrated when I think about it, but we wasted so much time as a human race. We wasted so much time. And especially with this Illuminati shit, because even I thought in some shape or form a long time ago that this Illuminati shit was going to go somewhere. I mean, like when you're watching TV, you're watching about fucking aliens and fucking, it excites you. It puts like you know, you're kind of like in a vibe of mystery, you know, like it's exciting. I mean, like you're scared, but at the same time, it's like, whoa, man, like, you know, like spaceships and shit and conspiracy theories and fucking, you know, technologies that we never heard of, and they can do things and they can kill people a mile away with special ray guns and stuff like that. And all that shit kind of excites you, even though it might be bad. It kind of excites you because you're kind of like, man, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, if this is happening right now, what the fuck is gonna happen in 10 years, right? And you kind of like, you're kind of scared, but you kind of want to see it too, you know. But unfortunately, that's not what happened, because everything that's happening today happened 40, 50 years ago, and we ain't seen shit new yet, you know. So, but at the same time, it's like the analogy of school. So right now we're using an analogy, right? We're going to school, right? But only when we're in school. We're learning only when we're at school. So those time periods. So generally speaking, hyperbolically speaking, we're in this learning period of future events and stuff like that, and conspiracies and technologies and secrets and stuff, and discoveries, and you know, whatever, and digging in the past and stuff like that, and trying to find answers, but only when it's appropriate. We just do our homework and nothing more, right? And that's a fucking problem. So to get back to what we were saying, you know, I was saying you guys created me. And the reason why you guys created me is because that's me saying that it's not just me that's capable of creation. You are too. And what is creating in my book, I wrote a book, and in this book I wrote that the mind is like a computer, right? You are the one that inserts programs in it, right? And then your mind seeks out, just like a search engine, just like Google, your mind is connected to the internet, right? And it seeks out all the information that you asked it to seek out. And that information comes to them, right? It's like every choice you make brings you closer to your goal, right? Every choice you make brings you closer to your goal. And whatever the goal might be, I'm not talking about big goals and dreams and ideals and stuff like, no. Just waking up in the morning, telling yourself, I want some fucking coffee. But you want coffee so fucking much that everything in the day is centered around getting some fucking coffee. And shit you not, most of the time, you're gonna get some fucking coffee. If you make the right choices. If the right opportunities present itself, you're gonna get some fucking coffee, right? And the problem is, the reason why we don't see the magnitude of this effect of that power is because of money. It's because of money. Because you wake up in the morning, you say, I want some coffee. So now you got $10 in your pocket. You got enough money to get some coffee. So you go get the coffee. But imagine if you didn't have $10 in your pocket to go get some coffee, right? How do you get the coffee? So now you enter a journey, right? Now you're really into some shit. Now you're creating scenarios, you're creating situations, you're putting yourself in a situation in order to get closer to that damn cup of coffee. You're thinking, you're using your mind, you're using your hands, you're looking in cupboards, you're scrounging money, you're looking, and then you find something. So it's kind of like, when I say you created me, right? I am a beholder. Okay? I am a beholder. When I was 2 years old, I was a beholder. I was a little thing with tentacles and one eye. And all I did was watch. That's what happens when you're a kid. Right? When you're a kid, you're a beholder. You just sit there with your fucking floating tentacles and you just look at things. And you record those things. You record patterns, human behavior, jokes, sad things, trauma, whatever. You record everything. And then you build yourself out of those things. You build an image out of those things that you have recorded, right? Which you call the self. And some people might call the ego, which it is. It is the ego because it's not necessarily real, right? Especially if you build yourself out of everything else. If you build yourself out of everything else, then what you built is an ego. And the reason why I say that is because we are still ignorant in what is human. Well, some of us might be ignorant in what is human, and some of us aren't. But for everyone else that's like me, that's how you started. So, the Illuminati created sitcoms, Saturday morning cartoons, comic books, video games. And I recorded all of those things. I'm aware of all those things because I have tentacles. So I did everything. So I looked at everything. I can reach everything. Everything comes to me and I look at it and I analyze it and I record it. If I am interested in it, I keep it for myself. If I'm not, I throw it away. And then I build the character that I am today. Right? So, yeah, I can say I created myself out of nothing. I can say I'm an omnipotent God that created myself out of nothing and there's nothing else above me. Or I can look at it both ways. And in both ways, I might be right. Right? More or less. Or I can look at it as you've created something. You were probably not aware of the magnitude of what you were creating, but you created something. And though that something created a ripple effect, and that vibration is going somewhere. The current, the electricity goes from one point to another. When you do anything, there is going to be a receiver of the thing that you're doing. I created a YouTube channel. So obviously the people that receive, so obviously some people, since it's a video, some people are going to see my face and hear what I'm saying. Right? So there is a receiver. But the thing is, it's not just about the receiver itself. It's also about the effect that your creation is making. What kind of vibration, what kind of energy are you sending out into the universe? So that's the reason why you have to watch out what you do and watch out what you say, right? Because everything you do and everything you say has a repercussion. A repercussion. Percussions is rhythm. Percussion is a vibration. And we call it a repercussion, a consequence. We've talked about consequences before in my channel, which is another spiritual aspect. So maybe you put energy and an ideal in what you were doing, and 100,000 people are going to see it. But in that 100,000 people that are going to see it and not paying no mind, someone in there will. You don't know who. And does it really matter? And is that really how you should perceive it? Because if you perceive it as, oh, somebody's going to get it, then you are not assuming your power. If you create a thing and something comes out of it, if you try to create something and that something exists, then you created it. It's like people believe in Jesus, right? People believe in Jesus, but how many people that believe in Jesus would believe Jesus? Like, you believe in Jesus, you believe in Jesus, you believe in Jesus. But what if Jesus knocks at your fucking door? Like, what if you wake up one fucking morning and he knocks at your fucking door? Like a living, not a ghost, not an apparition, no shining light, nothing, no fucking Jesus. Are you going to believe him? Are you going to deny him? Probably not. Probably not, specifically because you're going to be aware that you manifested that. So now you're going to be even more like, what the fuck? That's even weirder. Knowing that you manifested something is more weird than something happening randomly. It's random. Random stuff is explainable. Random. Manifesting something like that isn't. And well, you can, but it's very complicated to explain. You have to go into quantum mechanics and all kinds of physics and shit like that to explain the happening. So of course it's gonna freak you out. So we created this and we're not aware of it. It's like what they say about artists. Artists never know. Artists have a tendency to not know what they've created. And it's funny because it's true. People that create things don't know what they created sometimes. They might have created the most wonderful thing ever, but they don't see the value. Like, sometimes it takes someone else to see what you've done so that you understand the value of what you've done. Because sometimes you don't see it, because you're kind of like you take it for granted, right? And it also stems from a little bit of lack of confidence too. Like me, when I was a kid, I was afraid of that shit happening to me. I didn't want to be like those artists. So when I made a drawing, I was proud of every drawings that I made, right? I was like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm that damn good. I was always happy when I finished a drawing. Like, I would never discard my drawings. I would never do that. I would be happy about every one of my drawings. Like, it was the greatest thing ever, even though it wasn't. To me, it was. And it was on purpose. Because I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to not be aware of myself. I didn't want someone else to show me to me. I wanted to be awake. I didn't want to be sleeping. And nowadays we sleep. We sleep on everything, and for some reason, it's weird that what the Illuminati is doing is working so well. It's very weird. I mean, I would understand that it works to a certain extent, but not this much. And that's what worries me about humanity. I find it hard to explain, or I find it hard to understand and explain that this is working so well. And that's what I'm saying when I'm saying people lost track of reality. They're going off rails. And it's funny because it really feels like humanity thinks that they're not important. It's weird that the Illuminati found a way to make everyone on the planet feel like they're nothing. It's very weird. It's very suspicious. It's very weird because it's a lot of people. It's not. We're not talking about like 2 or 3 people. We're not talking about like 100 people. We're not even talking about 1,000 people. We're talking about millions, billions of people that feel nothing. Like they don't. They're not even aware that they're breathing air. That shit's fucking crazy, man. Like 2, 3 ignorant people, yeah, fine. You know, you can pull one over on somebody that's not too smart, but not everyone. You know. So I'm aware that I've created myself, but I'm not arrogant enough to not notice that these things that I've created myself of were here before I was born. And if I really want to get fifth dimensional, as I was saying about you watching this video and learning from me doesn't mean anything. What you're doing is you are inside of an incubation cube, just like in the Matrix, and there's a program running in your mind. So what you're looking at is yourself reminding yourself of something either that you forgot or maybe it's something that you need, because everybody has a different reason to do whatever they do. Maybe you're on the mission that I'm not aware of and that my video is actually helping you achieve that mission. You know, like it could happen. So, and when you start looking at life this way, you have a lot more power. You have a lot more control. You have a lot more control and you have a lot more power because, you know, you're not letting your ego stop you from, you're not letting your arrogance stop you from becoming more. Because if you like watch this channel and then you switch off for any reason, that's your ego. And you're detaching yourself from reality, for lack of better terms. You're detaching yourself from the ether. You're detaching yourself from your magic. You're detaching yourself from your magic. You're detaching yourself from your own power, right? Because I'm you telling you about you. If you're on this channel, if you listen to not if you're listening to my in my window, you're nothing. If you're listening through my window, you're nothing. If you actively set an intention, if you actively made a prayer asking for some form of truth or some form of advanced technology, of some form of knowledge, or some form of discovery, of some form of power, anything along those lines, more spirituality, more gnosis, whatever. If you actually thought about that stuff and I ended up and you landed on my video, this is what it means. It means that you have found a part of the equation of the solution that you're looking for. And that's how I see life. That's how I navigate through life. I navigate through life in a manner that I set out my intention, and everything, well, not everything, but I use my discernment, and the things that are supposed to come to me, right? Because not everything is positive all the time. And sometimes the universe might play tricks on you. Odin's a trickster. Lucifer is a trickster. Most gods are tricksters. So I'm a trickster too. You know. So you have to use discernment. Because you don't want to be blind. You don't want to shed so much light that you can't see anymore. That you blind yourself. So you've created this. You've created this instance, this happening, this moment. It's what you asked for, it's what you wanted, and I'm bringing it to you. And I'm going to keep bringing it to you because that's what you want. And that's what I want to. You know, I didn't want to make this video too long because of the length of the two other videos. They're basically podcast at this point. 3 hours, like 5 hours. But they're very interesting. Take your time. I'm not in a hurry. But they're interesting videos. There's something for everybody in there, I think. And the notions in there are a little bit interesting. Just like the notion in this video are interesting if you're capable of understanding it, you know. And like I was saying before, I forgot to say that. So the reception of when I stated that notion was very sad. It was sad because the people saw it as if I didn't believe in myself, and that's what I said that. And that was extremely sad for me to hear. Because it's kind of like you're blind. You're so blind that you don't even understand the power that I'm giving you right now. Like you think your ego is getting in the way of listening and understanding. And it's a fun little power too. It's not a big deal. It's a fun power too. It's a fun thing to see life that way. And it makes you more secure. And of course, it's going to make you a little bit more responsible too. Because now you're aware that there are consequences to your actions. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. So, and those consequences are not always bad, but it's still a consequence, right? And this is, I call it magic, but that's just how the brain works. Because the brain, to me, everything is magic, right? Like I don't see a difference. To me, there's no such thing as no magic. That's like, I see life in a fashion that there is nothing that isn't magic. Everything is magic. And the brain is magic too, right? And the brain is an incredibly powerful tool that is barely used by all of us. Like it's barely used, right? And the brain just works like that. That's just how it works. That's why everything is the way it is right now. That's why the Illuminati are using clever tricks to alter the frequency of your mind in order to shape reality in their own way. I made a video the other day and I forgot to finish what I was saying. I was talking about somebody about this. I was saying we should all create clubs. And it was like, yeah, but I like those guys better because they got structure and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I like that too. I like structure and it looks respectable and stuff like that, right? But at the end of the day, they're just kids playing with toys. Because at the end of the day, what the Illuminati does, if you are really into Freemasonry, right? If you're a hardcore Freemason, then everything that I'm saying right now is what you're doing today. That's what a real Freemason does. A real Freemason shapes reality. That's what a Freemason is. A Freemason is somebody that shapes reality. Like if you achieve the highest level of the highest level, you're doing what I'm doing. You're saying what I'm saying. That's what a Freemason is. So I'm like, that's why I was kind of like, well, you don't really need that. You can just do it. Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of smoke screen, there's a lot of steps, there's a lot of structure, but at the end of the day, it's very simple. What they're doing is very simple. And you can do it too. So why would you need somebody to tell you how to do something that you already know how to do? Just do it. Just do it, man. And that's what the Illuminati is doing. The Illuminati is shaping reality. The only thing is, I really wonder who's the genius, who's the evil genius that thought about all this, because this is a weird dream. It's very weird. It's nonsensical. It's gratuitous. It's very negative. It's very low frequency. It's very low energy. So it's very like I wonder what's going through this person's mind to have this reaction. Like what kind of parents that this person had? Like what happened to this person when he was a child or even as a grown up? Like what would make someone want to do all of this? That's very peculiar. It's very weird. And it kind of seems like, okay, this person might be a wizard, but they might be unhinged too. They might have some severe mental disabilities. Severe mental disability, because this is psychopathic shit. And these guys that are dreaming, and of course it's not one person, but there has to be, no, it's not one person. It's a coalition of people that they all agreed on creating this. But it's a weird creation. It's a very bizarre creation. It's just very bizarre, man. It's very low frequency. It's very psychotic, pathetic, violent, and psychotic shit that they've created. But at the end of the day, what I mean to say is you can do that, and you are doing it. That's just how your brain works. Like, it's not your fault. It's like a passive, in RPGs, you have active powers. That's like throwing a fireball and shit like that. And then you have passive powers. Those are always going on, but in the background, right? Like it's not, it's just, it's in the background. It's not, it's passive, right? But it's always active, right? That's a passive power. And your brain is a passive power. It's always doing what it's doing. It's never stopping. But the thing is, for some reason, whether it's for money or other reasons, I don't know. And that's fine. It's just like I said, it's the amount of people for the amount of time that I find kind of weird. Because you would think like by now, this shit people would get tired of this, right? So, anyways, like I was saying, you can do it too. So your brain is always constantly creating that. So it's kind of weird that, you would give up your power of creating reality for nothing. It's bizarre. And of course, it's nobody's fault because you don't learn that in school. If you're not interested in it, you have no idea. If people tell you your brain is just a hunk of meat and with synapses and that's pretty much it, you're just a fucking bag of flesh and bones and blood, and go to work and shut the hell up. So of course people, they're going to see the Illuminati, they're going to join right away. Because they don't want to be just flesh bags of meat and bones. So, but the problem is, some of us are aware of this, but we're not doing anything about it. Or maybe in some cases we can't. But there's enough of us. And do you really need to know all of that before doing something? No. No, you don't. And you should have, because at the end of the day, that passive power is connected to your confidence. Give me a second. At the end of the day, your passive power of creation is connected to your confidence. So you might not be aware of the extent of your power of creation, but if you're a confident person, you're never going to doubt whatever thing that you start to get into. So you will create and you will succeed. So you don't need to know all these things. All you need to be is confident. And then maybe you'll discover these things. But on the real, it is unnecessary to join a group of people that might have a sinister outlook on life. Because the thing about Freemasons, the reason why I have a problem with Freemasons, the reason why I have a problem with Masons is I understand what a Freemason is. I understand what a Mason is. And it feels like they're not doing their jobs. Because there's people like me that are very powerful and very intelligent and very well spoken that are just hanging around all willy-nilly with no strings attached. That's not right. You're supposed to have enough knowledge to recognize specific people and guide them. And they don't do that. What they do is they wait for people to come to them. And I feel that's egotistical. And that's why I have a problem with Freemasonry. Because it feels like you don't believe in your own bullshit. Because if you believed in your own bullshit, you would be collecting pieces of Eden. Just like in Assassin's Creed. You're not collecting pieces of Eden. You're joining together to make yourself feel better, patting yourself on the back, acting like you're doing something real, and then you go home, fuck your wife, and go to sleep. Pardon my language. Excuse me. But that's pretty much what Masons do nowadays. Waste of valuable effort. It is. It's a waste of valuable effort. You know. And I mean no disrespect, to my friend that we were talking about that stuff. I really mean no disrespect, and it's kind of like, but I was saying that to him because I believe that he can do that. He should do that. We should do that. Why waste our time with fake bullshit when you can have the real shit? Doesn't make any sense. And anyways, like I said, if you achieve the highest level, you're gonna be realist. Like, if you've been watching my YouTube channel since it came out, you really think you're gonna achieve the highest level in the Illuminati and they're gonna say something different than what I'm saying? Hell no. This is it. That's the you've achieved the glass ceiling. Welcome. This is the glass ceiling. This is the ceiling that everybody's looking for. This is it. Your brain is actively capable of creating. And the Illuminati, which are sinful time wasters, it's very weird. It's very weird. It's very weird. Like wasting people's time. That's the limit of your imagination. The limit of your imagination is I want to waste everybody's time. Like, how do you even get to that point? Like, how do you get to a point? It's just weird. Anyway, so they alter people's brain patterns and brain activity so that they can do the things that they're doing. That's all that they're doing. They're creating something. They're terraforming the earth into something else. The only problem is it's not very good what they're creating. We are not meant for whatever they're creating. And if people think that we're meant for whatever they're creating, then people will have their wish granted, and a nuclear bomb will explode and everyone will die. I don't give a fuck, to be quite honest. I don't give a shit because at least I tried. So I don't give a fuck if the fucking place explodes. But that's what's gonna happen. Because that's not what you were meant to be. You were meant to be something completely and utterly different from that. It's not even close. It's not even comparable. The word human doesn't mean bag of flesh and bones. Human means light being. A hue is a spectrum of color. You're human. Like the rainbow. The rainbow is a hue. You're human. You're light men. You're energy being. So the concept of this gratuitous carnal desire that the Illuminati provides to the common men is of such insulting and revolting level of like indecency and just disrespect. Of course I think he's God. Of course I think they're God, bro. Like that's just, of course I think they're God. Only God would look at humanity that way. It would take a God to do the things that Illuminati are doing. It would take a being like God to do it. Because a human can't look at another human that way. It doesn't make any sense. Even if you're a bad person, that's too much. I mean, of course, bad people do that. Bad people do waste your time, and they suck your energy, and they hurt you, and they do all kinds of shit. But they learned it from somewhere. Either it was done to them, or somebody literally taught them how to do it. So to that extent, to the extent that Illuminati is doing what they're doing to us, it's unnatural. It's not natural, and it can't just stem from them. It has to come from a higher power. It has to. It absolutely has to, because it can't. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It's just not. It's not sensible. It's not sensible. Like, you know, like, why waste people's time? Like, what do you care? Like, you got all the money in the world, you got all the resources. What the fuck do you care about my time? Why would you care about my time? Like, what is it to you? Like, how is that a bother in any shape or form? Like, how is me living through life a bother to anyone at all? Seriously speaking, like not hypothetically, not hyperbolically, like just literally, to the rawest of literals. Like, how can a person living be such a bother that you want to take away the time he has on earth? That's absurd. That's crazy. So it can't be, you can't tell me, no, it's not a bother. You wouldn't care either. That's not what would piss you off. And there's probably a lot of things that would. My attitude could piss you off. My haircut could piss you off. The size of my pants could piss you off. The colors that I wear could piss you off. My skin tone can piss you off. The way I speak can piss you off. Like, the way I think can piss you off. But you, just being you, is not a true reason to be pissed off at somebody. That's a lie. You are doing something for someone for some reason. These are orders. This is a plan. These are orders. These are orders given by someone, and that person is establishing the plan. God's plan. It's a Drake song. It's a plan. It has to be a plan. This doesn't add up. It does not add up, bro. It doesn't. Humans don't do that. That's not a human thing. None of this shit is human. Nothing that we're seeing right now is human. People don't do that. People have more common sense than this. People have more common sense than this. This is not our behavior. This is not indicative of what a human being is. The Illuminati and whatever the fuck they created in humanity or society nowadays is not real. It's not. People don't act like that. It's not real. If people don't act like that. Now they do, because they've been taught how to do it. But that's not their original state. That's not where they originally came from. That's not how they originally act. And even if they did, that's not where we were going. We're not going towards this nonsense that we're having right now. We're going towards, well, presumably we were going towards something better, right? Well, we would like to think that we're going to something better. But like the old saying goes, every road leads to Rome. So we're going to get through this one way or another. And we're going to achieve the goal one way or another. And I might be wrong, and we blow ourselves up with a nuclear bomb. But we're going to have to come back here and do it again until we get it. And some of us won't come back because there's too much trash in them to be let loose on earth again. Because if they're let loose on earth again, well, whatever we're trying to do is not going to work. And we're trying to do something. We just don't know what it is. Or we forgot what it is. Or we're scared of what it is. But we're trying to do something. And eventually it might take a couple of nuclear bomb level extension events before we get there. But sooner or later we're going to get there. Because that's what we want. And when you input something into the mind will look for it and bring you the solution. All right, so now things are getting too deep. I don't want to say too much, even though I probably did. I probably skipped something. I guess there's more coming. I'll see you guys on the next video. Yeah, but before I go, I have to say, I am worried. I'm worried, but I'm not worried at the same time. I'm worried about the future. I'm not worried about today. I'm worried about the future. Like, I'm wondering, what is all this going to turn into? Like, because believe you me, like, this whole transfiguration of humanity is not something that bothers me that much. It's not the what, it's the how that worries me. Is it going to be just a bunch of filthy individuals that are creating more filthy individuals, and all that transhumanism is just going to be like a gross thing that people do because it's cool? Or is it going to be a personal choice because people feel like it and they enjoy it and makes them feel good? Or is it going to be just, well, everybody in the neighborhood do it, so I do it too? Because I hate that shit, man. I hate that shit so much. Anyways, I'm going to leave you guys on that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace out.